Thank you for joining us tonight. At Bull Rush, what we're attempting to do is define Ozark cuisine or Ozark food. And we do that through archival research. The research that we do focuses in on three specific cultures: the Osage Nation, or the indigenous people, so also the Cherokee; the European settlers and Appalachian settlers who came into the area in the early 19th century, and they oftentimes would bring the enslaved. And those three cultures came together at one particular time and shared their knowledge, shared their passions, shared their wisdom around food, and that has evolved into what today we think of as Ozark food or Ozark cuisine. And of course, it's living off the land, it's preservation, it's a sense of using all parts of the animal or the plant, and that all comes from survival. These are still things that are embedded in our culture today. And so what we're attempting to do is to go back in time, use this knowledge, and then set a path forward in the future. So we're not trying to cook the food of yesterday or even today, but the food of tomorrow, but being completely tied to this archival research and the stories that we glean from all the letters and journals that we have found in the research. This has led to a number of interesting research projects that are tandem to what we're already doing with the primary work. And it's things like we found a seed store inventory from 1841. And so we're now working with 12 different farmers to grow 23 of the seeds that were on that list, and seeds that we just don't see in the area anymore. We've worked with Baker Creek up in Mansfield, Missouri, and also Seed Saver Exchange up in Iowa to gather these seeds that aren't readily distributed. We're also doing genealogy of known freed slaves from the area. We think that's a good window into the lives of the enslaved at the time, and doing that in a way that is not appropriating the culture, but allowing them to tell their own story. We're also working with the Osage Nation's Office of Historic Preservation for the same thing, that is an oral tradition and not a written tradition. And the books that are written about the Osage people come from a different perspective than what we would actually want to share in the restaurant. So we do all these things, and there's a lot more, and we're happy to talk about them throughout the night. But ultimately, it all comes back to how can we define the food that was eaten 150, 200, 250 years ago, and then use that information with a technique called midrash. Midrash is where you take facts and knowledge and fill in the gaps in an educated way. So the letters that we find, it comes from a time of survival, not from foodieism. And so they're not talking about the specific details very much. They're talking about how they survived in a letter back to a loved one that they just want to let them know they're okay. And so we can take that with historic knowledge, put it all together, and present it on a plate. Anyway, this is not a classroom. This is a meal. We really hope you enjoy yourself tonight. If you have any questions, please do ask. We'll introduce each course as we're able, but with the masking and whatnot, we're going to be a little more reserved than we normally would be. But we're happy to talk and answer any questions you might have. So thank you again for coming. Thank you for your support of Bull Rush, our team, and also for PBS's A Taste of History. Thank you.